Muting out now. Well, hello and welcome to week 117 update. I'm here with Cornet and Carl. How are you doing, guys?
Yeah, I'm doing perfectly fine. So I'm sitting here in bed ready to read the patch notes. Very excited.
Good,
I'm doing
good,
fine
good.
as well, thanks. And howdy, Moshbo?
Howdy, Moshbo. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so we have week 117's update. I'm just going to try and find my mouse. Here we go. Where we are looking at batteries and a full network upgrade. Batteries are finally here with a full network upgrade to boot, a full dynamic resource network for detailed control. If you could take us away and let us know what we're doing.
Sure. So, finally, batteries are here. Not only have we refactored the entire network system to allow for batteries and variable flow rates, but the system itself has been heavily optimized to be more efficient in both network traffic, sending data from server to clients, and server processing, the amount of calculations done from second to second. This aims to improve both server and client performance when it comes to resource networks, which is a good thing, because the resource networks are definitely a relative large component in the overall performance issues.
Yeah.
Now, this has been a long process, and we will go into detail below on the extensive changes and reworks we had to do to deliver this, including multiple reworks and a lot of man-hours invested on our end. We'll break down the new system, what you can expect, a host of new items as well as balance changes that have come along with it. So let's jump in and check it all out below. So we start off with some notable improvements. The water networks are now accessible at tier 3. Find out more below. It was a tier 4 only before. It has now been shifted to tier 3. Water networks, not power network.
That's good, because it means you can hook up your crop plots and stuff earlier.
Yep. Sprinklers are now tier 3. They were tier 4 before, now tier 3. They are cheaper and they are better. They can now make you or your enemies wet, so dousing the fire, but they can also, and this is interesting, water crop plots.
Yay!
And they can be triggered manually or by sustaining damage, i.e. fire damage. So yeah, basically put a couple of basically put a couple of sprinklers above your crop plots and you won't have to manually water your crop no more, provided you have enough water flowing towards the sprinklers, that is.
And you have fire damage.
Not necessarily.
Well,
There's no fire damage when it...
You need fire damage to trigger the sprinklers, though, so something's got to be on fire.
Can be triggered manually.
Or by sustaining damage,
Okay.
yeah. But that's the other thing now, because the making your enemies wet part, this immediately made me think about like electrocuting damage, especially with the new backpack.
Yeah, electricity and water, they still don't interact in Icarus.
Okay.
So, sorry.
Well, I'm just saying that, you know, a wet enemy within a range, if one took some shocking damage, another one would take some shocking damage. That might be something to just test, but that's fine. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, why would you want to make your enemies wet?
I don't know.
But that's it.
There's the sprinklers. Fixed instances where the bee swarm would not always be removed upon their death. Indeed, they keep on flying around, but you can't hit them with your knife no more. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
They still had a hitbox though, so they were sometimes blocking your passage. So you couldn't always get close enough to the bee nest to loot it because the bees were in the way. So now when you kill them, they should be removed immediately. Good. Another one, the deep ore veins. Now we've talked about these before. Initially they were set up to have a limited amount of resources, so they would run dry. Then it looked like they were infinite. However, they were not infinite as such. They have been made infinite again now. Now if you look at the patch notes itself, they are now unlimited by design, so they won't run out. A few weeks ago we fixed a bug which was making the deep veins refresh on each login, meaning they ran out as intended, but after testing and based on your feedback, we decided it was a better experience if they never run out. So they ran out as intended, but because they refreshed it each login meant you would have had a very long session for them to actually run out.
Yeah.
Or you just log out, log back in, and then it's refreshed. That's kind of a pointless action to do.
Yeah.
And for the at least for the super cool ice veins, they were stacking on top of one another. So you ended up with like 500,000 deep super cooled ice deep veins on top of one another, and making the game slower. The file bigger and the game slower. I thought it was only for the super cooled ice. However, this sentence we fixed a bug a few weeks ago, which was making them refresh on each login. Looks like super cooled ice was indeed like stacking, and the others was refreshing. Now, we talked about this before, obviously, like what's better, let them run out, make them infinite. People are saying like, yeah, it's not the quickest method to mine. You better mine everything, use a thumper, and then mine again. However, thumper randomizes the output of the voxels, materials of the voxels, whereas the deep veins, once there, they are the same resource. As for it is slow, yes, but at some point you get to a point where you're like, okay, I have a deep vein there, it's full, but I don't need it right now, so I'm just going to keep it there until I need the resources, and then I just empty it out and let it mine again. basically the state my open world is in.
So you use the deep vein extractor as storage until such time as you need the resource.
Basically as a buffer, yes. Because I had a lot of storage in my base already, but as a buffer if I ever run out. And like I need to smelt a bunch of ingots, so I take it from storage in base, and then at some point I'm like, okay, let's just restock the base, and I run up to the DVE, empty it out, bring it back to base. I don't really mind the deep veins being infinite. Because otherwise, if they are finite, you will end up with, at some point, after a lot of time, true, but at some point you will end up with no deep veins, definitely not no deep veins close to your base no more, and eventually even no deep veins at all in your open world.
Yeah. And that's not good because you need resources all the time for everything.
Yeah. And okay, it is gonna take a long time before you basically clean out the entire map, but the fact that they are infinite, it does mean they stay, you have like the deep veins closer to your base all the time. I like that.
Yes. So basically you could have a base in each biome and know that you only need to find one deep vein of every.
Deep veins are not biome specific, the contents of a deep vein. I have seen clay deep veins in the volcanic. I have seen scoria deep veins in the grasslands, those kind of things. So the deep veins are not, the resources in the deep veins are not biome specific. It is RNG, whether or not you have useful deep veins close. I mean, you could end up with a base where you only have 5 sulfur and 9 silica deep veins close to your base, and all the other ores are further away, but that's just RNG.
Those bricks look very nice though.
Yep. Clay bricks by the looks of it.
That looks really nice.
Yeah.
And actually to the right of the deep vein, you'll see a battery rack. And you'll also see this light fixture there. Didn't Jake say about this one last week? There was like something that never got implemented?
Like a new light or something?
Yeah, spotlight.
Yeah, well, it's there. I think there were spotlights. Because remember we had some in the cave, which was like many years ago.
No, not these ones. I don't recall having seen this specific type of spotlight before.
Oh well.
Well, to the left of the deep vein, on against the brick wall, you see the new flow meter thingy.
Yeah.
Echo, right mouse button on the image and open a new tab to get a bigger view of the image.
You can also just zoom in, but yeah.
No, zoom in doesn't work with images. And to the left, on the left side of the base, just before the shadow, there's this new rain catcher. Look, the metal one.
Oh yeah, yeah, I see it with the bucket underneath it.
Yeah. So, that's the image. Back to the patch notes. So this week, an update we have been looking forward to for quite some time. The batteries and brownouts. Now, we have added batteries and water storage devices to store these resources, i.e. power and water, for later use, such as in cases where your solar panels aren't producing energy at night, or your water wheels are clogged. For the full breakdown of the new items, see the new items section below. Now, instead of before this, hiya Fabi. Now, before this, devices were shutting down if there wasn't enough power, right?
Hi Fabi,
this has
welcome.
been changed. So this has been changed, this behavior. Instead of shutting off when not receiving enough of a required resource, water or mainly power, many will now move into brown out state. Depending on the device, some will shut off though. So for example, the aquarium, it will shut off, so your fish will die. While crafting benches will brown out. Now this brown out basically means the device isn't receiving adequate resources and therefore it performs at a suboptimal level. Examples include lights getting dimmer, crafting benches crafting slower, and the humidifiers or heaters or air conditioners have a reduced radius of effect. Devices such as water pumps will produce less water if they are not receiving enough electricity. So if you notice your benches don't have enough water, it might be an issue now with not enough power. So adding a water pump will not necessarily fix that problem in that case. It might even make it worse.
Yeah. So you've got to figure out whether or not it's your power.
Yeah, whether it's power or water.
Or water, yeah.
There is a new device for this, which will be mentioned later on in the patch notes, which is going to help you figure this out.
Okay.
And we've also added a way to examine your networks at a glance, so you can see the status of all the connected devices as well as their active states. Active being active, passive, or shutdown. Now, this examination can be achieved by either having a water pipe tool or electricity tool equipped, look at an object and pressing R, the radial, or by connecting one of the new items added this week, a flow meter. Like I said, there will be a device helping you determine where the problem is. Or by connecting the flow meter to the networks. Interacting this way will bring up a screen breaking down all the objects connected to that network. Individual elements can be clicked on to see each device in that category, and a priority can also be assigned. So I don't care if my crafting bench gets less power, as long as my freezer keeps enough power so it keeps my food from spoiling. Things like that.
Yeah.
Now, prioritizing means being able to define if a device should be prioritized to receive resources first before the rest of the network. Now, this is especially helpful when you have a heavy network load or when you have not enough power to run everything. Another option obviously is going to be like build more wind turbines.
Yeah.
You don't produce enough power, so either reduce the consumption or increase the production. But if you, for one reason or the other, can't increase the production, then the flow meter and the new network examination screen are going to help you with reducing the consumption.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how that would also perhaps affect the batteries. Like if you had a 1 milliamp hour, like say one battery which produces 100 units, right? And you shut off.
Battery doesn't produce power; it stores power. But
no, it stores power, but it gets consumed by it. So the thing is, it stores the power. So there's 100 units inside of it. The thing is that would it just constantly drain at the maximum output of whatever is running on the network until it's empty, and then it's empty, so everything shuts off anyway. That's if you had no generation, or
if there is not enough power generation, it means not enough power. There's more power flowing out of the batteries than there's flowing in, so you will drain your battery. As long as you have enough battery power, everything runs fine. As soon as your batteries run out, then systems will start browning out.
Yeah, but what I refer to is that you had no source of power going into them, as in they run out, which means there is nothing going out, which means everything just stops instantly. Or if it was sort of like a normal battery where it sort of goes slower and it immediately goes in a brownout state. But
no, it's gonna be more like lithium-ion batteries and not nickel.
Okay.
So basically give full output until it's empty and then sharp cut off.
Yeah, thought so.
Now,
Okay.
this week we have like one big refactor. Now, systems such as these, power and water systems, and the changes done to it may seem like small change on the surface, but in reality, something as simple as adding batteries required an entire rework of how devices both connect to the networks and communicate with one another. We have gone through 3 iterations of this system, 2 of which you will never see because they didn't fit with the game and didn't work out as well as we had hoped. So we are working on the 3rd iteration now. But yeah, those 2 first iterations not working so never made it to the game is part of game development that goes unseen. Sometimes you want to add something simple to a system that was not designed for it, and you have to rewrite the whole thing. I know a thing or two about development. I know Carl knows as well. He knows what they're talking about here.
I'll start over.
Yeah. Now, the system was originally designed for all machines to have a constant flow rates. That is a static supply or demand value that can be turned on and off depending on the machine state. Also on and off. So basically binary. It's either on or it's off.
Yeah.
So either you grab the full power from the network,
Or you don't.
or if the network doesn't provide enough power, you grab nothing.
Yeah.
This, in theory, is simple, effective, and at the time of development, was what we thought we needed. However, the static value represented a flow rate, a rate at which units of energy would transfer to and from the machine into the network itself. Now, adding batteries to the system, which was always an intention, exposed a bunch of issues with the simplicity of the system, even if it worked to a degree. Everything worked, and yes, you had to get used to the fact that all of a sudden everything was shutting off because you added one extra light, but it worked to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of the issues included some of these issues included being unable to vary the flow rates for devices. It's an on-off, it's not a variable flow rate. And the network acting in a very binary fashion meant any complex interactions that we felt needed to come alongside the batteries for them to be used in a meaningful way were not possible. Examples including, by the way, Karel, pay attention, this is something we talked about. Examples include storms affecting the output of wind turbines, or scaling a device's performance based on the amount of electricity available. Storms did not affect wind turbines. One would say there's a storm, wind turbines should produce more power.
Well,
This was
it's
not possible before.
Actually, you would do the opposite. You would actually need to lock down the turbine to prevent it from exploding.
True. If it's too much wind, indeed.
Yeah.
But for simplicity's sake, basically more wind equals more power.
Well, what is your bet going to be? If you had to put money on in a storm, would you generate more power or would you generate less power or no power?
In a simple, currently, I would say.
I mean, now that this has been patched,
I hope.
now that this is being.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tested it out.
Well, no, that's
I would
great.
hope it would be more power.
Okay, but
after
what's your
all,
gut
more
telling
wind, faster rotation, so more power.
I'm thinking it's the opposite. I think it's going to be the turbines are going to lock, which means you're not going to have power output, or else the wind turbines are always just going to give you output, and this is how they.
If they are going to include things like safety locks.
Yeah.
Like lock, if it is going to spin too fast, then I hope it's going to be an automatic process.
It's automatic. It should be automatic. No, it's automatic.
I don't want to have to like run to all my wind turbines and like stop them as soon as the storm hits.
No, it's a safety feature, but that's the way they nerf the wind turbine. So if that is the way, then it's a thumbs up from my side.
Either producing more or less, I don't really care. We have batteries now, so we should be able, provided you have enough batteries, that is, to basically balance out these increase and decrease in power generation. But yeah, all these changes, it meant going back to the drawing board on the system. After a few more months of development, we now have developed a system that supports variable flow rates. This system allows devices to be dynamically scaled up and down based on their status, and we've also developed a system alongside that allows you to control your resource networks, including setting priorities for receiving resources, controlling on and off states, and more. In addition to these, you can now inspect your network and see the connected devices at a glance by either using the electricity or water placement tools or a flow meter. Now, implementing a dynamic system means various devices can now experience brownout states, which can cause a heater to have a reduced area of effectiveness or a crafting bench to perform less efficiently when they are not receiving enough resources from a network. In the past, these devices would have shut off entirely, leaving players having to run around disconnecting machines from the network until a problem was solved. I do recall this.
Yep,
Like
checking
disconnect the electric furnace in order to run the material processor and vice versa.
Yeah.
And then when it touches one electrical couple node and then the entire server crashes. Then we log in and it crashes.
Things like that, yep.
Or Cornet has to run for 4 miles back to the original point of where the electric wiring system was wired, so that we could so that he could double check every single node and make sure it was all working. And 20 minutes later, he'd go, "No, it's got nothing to do with that."
That would be hilarious. It would actually be a funny joke if I was able to damage the cable with a pickaxe randomly somewhere, and then it would disconnect the network, and then you had to go freaking find the location.
Oh,
that would be actually funny.
Well,
that would be funny.
At least it's going to be easier to troubleshoot now, because I can just take my electricity tool and run alongside the cable. Ever so often, checking the cable, say, hey, is there still power on?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes. Okay, at some point it's no. Okay, I know I have to go back to the previous point I checked, and between here and there is the issue. So that in itself already is a huge improvement.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, this new system allows you far more control and far more information to work with. Absolutely. Now, after many hours of both testing internally and with our experimental bronze players, the system is now in a state we believe is ready for release, barring the hotfix they brought out this morning. We may still have some bugs that will show up now that it is being released to the general public, but we will strive to address these quickly over the next week. We also have plans to improve how you interact with machines on these networks, as well as do a balanced pass to power generating devices. Wind turbines, we're looking at you.
Yeah. You see, this is the thing. Like I said, just shut them off. This is like, okay, there's a lot of wind, shut them off. It's like, nope, safety lock automatically. It's a thing.
Wind turbines were very convenient already. Like they run 24/7.
That's the thing. Like I said, they have to be nerfed. Yeah. They have to be nerfed.
Like solar panels, they produce a lot, but they only work during the day. Water wheels, they produce less than solar panels, but still decent amount. However, they will clog up after X amount of time. And then along came the wind turbines, which don't need no maintenance, no grease, no nothing. They run 24/7. They produce the least amount of the three mentioned power generators.
But they run 24/7.
Without having to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously you have the biofuel generators, which produce power as long as there is fuel in. Still needs periodic visits to renew biofuel. So basically wind turbines were like the go-to. Okay, they cost a fair amount of resources. Tier 4, fair amount of resources, but it's basically a set and forget.
Yeah.
And that's why you see a lot of bases with big wind farms. If they are gonna nerf this, hey, by all means, just please don't make it so I have to visit them every couple of hours. That's
I
gonna
loved
be
your
such
idea.
a pain.
I loved it. Your idea about having to go up that thing to Greece. I'll just sit back with some popcorn and watch you fall off 5 times. I think though, and then with a shotgun, just be
Yeah,
like, pow! It's like,
there's no safety ropes in Icarus.
oh, jeepers, that would be
Nope.
so good. Please do that. That's a great. I agree with you there. Okay, fine. During the storm, you can generate more power, but then the grease runs out quicker, so that means Corona has to go running up his scaffold to go freaking grease
In
those
the middle of a
things.
storm. Yeah.
Oh
Great.
yeah, that would go for it. You do that.
If they go that way, then please make it so that you can have a central storage with grease, a big barrel, and a pump which pumps around grease through the lines. I have to. Sure, I'll have to place those hoses towards all the wind turbines. I don't care, as long as I don't have to visit all the freaking windmills every time.
Do that.
I have like 60 plus wind turbines on my open world. I don't want to have to visit them every 2 or 3 hours.
I don't care. That's they have to be nerfed. That's a fair.
You'd
That's
be
a
up
fair
there
deal.
permanently in a storm, dude.
No. In the storm, they can basically just keep on going. Okay, fine. They can just burn a bit quicker oil if they don't nerf safety locks. But a nerf is deserved. So yeah, let's see what's coming.
Okay, I think one of you folks will have to start an open world, and we will be playing in that one. So I don't have to do all this. Let's see if you still think the same about it.
Yeah, true. Fair point. Fair point.
I still have my OG upside down pyramids base where nothing is even connected to water.
Okay, well, you have vacation, so you bring it up to spec with my open world, and then we'll continue playing with yours, yeah?
I'll take a hard pass. I think I'm just going to leave my OG upside down pyramid as is, just because it's just so old now. It's almost antique.
Yeah, it belongs in a museum, I know.
Yeah. Alrighty. With a new network comes a new smorgasbord of new items. We have the battery pack, basic battery rack, tier 4.
It says a tier 4. I'm not sure it's a... actually, no, there's batteries. Batteries, electricity. Electricity is tier 4.
Yeah, it's probably a cheaper. It's probably just a cheaper, less resource intensive.
Yeah, the entry-level battery option, which stores a moderate amount of electricity but has a low flow rate, so isn't suitable for high-capacity networks.
Interesting.
But it might be good for keeping your aquarium alive.
Yeah, like a backup device just next to it.
If it is on its own network only.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It would work if it had its own separate network.
Or if you could assign batteries to particular devices, kind of like, oh, this is your primary, and then there's no secondary. Usually, this is your.
Not if it's on the same network.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Advanced battery rack, which is tier 4. So yeah, I would have thought that the original one would have been tier 3.
No, electricity is I thought it as well initially, but electricity is tier 4. Water has become tier 3. Electricity is still tier 4. So
okay.
Basic battery rack also is a tier 4.
Yeah, so you would upgrade it like we do the other benches.
I'm not sure you can upgrade them though.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. The premium option, which has a much higher storage capacity and flow rate, which is more suitable for networks with a much higher demand. Cornet.
Yeah, I think when I used to build a whole freaking, I think that whole empty bottom area just like
I built a whole basement just so that I could have biogenerators in there.
Yeah, and I already have one room destined to become the battery room. So yeah, I know. I already planned ahead. It will cost a ton of materials, but who cares?
Alrighty, we have the water barrel, which is tier 3. It acts as a storage device for water and can be connected to water networks. and the metal rain reservoir, also tier 3, which collects rainwater, can defrost ice into water, stores more than the rain reservoir at tier 2, and can be connected to water networks to act as a storage device. But the rain reservoir, you can put ice in the rain reservoir and it melts into water.
Yeah,
the tier 2 one.
Yeah, and this one as well, the tier 3.
Yeah. Except I think by this one it also means that you can couple, like with the new watering troughs, like if you put them outside, it'll catch the rainwater where it is outside, and then it can feed it into the water trough. So that is actually a brilliant system.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
I hope indeed it will work that way, because having to fill up the water troughs all the time is a bit of work.
I'm pretty sure it will, yeah.
Okay, we have the biofuel water pump at tier 3, which is a brand new device to allow water networks to be created and used earlier in the tech tree. Can be deployed in streams or lakes to generate water when fueled with biofuel.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Water came to tier 3.
I thought we had one of those, didn't we?
No. Water pumps are electric, so they are by definition tier 4.
Oh yeah, we had to put a generator and then couple it to that one mission with the cave arrow thing. Okay, I remember.
The cave arrow mission, indeed.
Yeah. Next up, we have the water borer, which is at tier 4. Also a new device that can be placed on enzyme geysers, and when poured, can be used to extract water, which can be fed into a water network.
When powered, not when poured. Just saying.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Would it then stop the geysers from like spraying, and it sort of seals it?
I would say so. So either you use the enzyme geyser to do horde mode, kill a horde of animals coming to it in order to obtain condensed enzyme and purple exotics, or use it, you put a water bore on top of it and use it for water, which is especially going to be interesting in arid regions, desert regions. If you're far away from any cave and or other water source, at least you now will have, provided there is an enzyme geyser relative nearby, you will be provided with another means to generate water.
Yeah. It's good that we're getting more access to water. Next up, we have the flow meter that we were talking about above, which is tier 4. This is a device that can be connected to both water and electrical networks. It has a display that shows the current supply, demand, and available storage at a glance. You can also interact with the device to see a more detailed view and assign priorities to machines. So if you wanted your freezers to be fed at all times so that your food doesn't go off, then you can prioritize that.
Now looking at the image of the flow meter, so it can be connected to both water and electric networks, connected to either water or electric. You can't connect it to both, I think. So either you connect it to the water network and it shows you the info for that water network, or you connect it to an electricity network and it will show you the info for that electricity network.
Yeah. So you have to have a flow meter per network.
It's looking nice, I have to say.
Yeah.
Right. Patch notes.
This week, balance adjustments. If you could, please, Connie. And there's our favorite furniture again.
Yep.
Oh, there's the barrels. I mean, just quickly the image. The wooden barrels. Are those the barrels that store the water?
Looks like it.
Yeah.
Those are like wine casks. Oh, okay, all right.
So
or is it the blue thing at the back?
I don't know. To the right, and so next to the so you have, coming from the right, you have the water wheel, and then there is the advanced battery rack by the looks of it.
Yeah, and then
a couple of tier 4 water pumps, not the biofuel ones, but the tier 4. You see the electricity lines going into them.
Oh, okay, you're right.
You indeed have a couple of barrels. I see a wind turbine.
Yeah.
And then behind there, it looks like
That's the barrels I'm talking about. It's
looking
like the
on
barrels. What are those barrels? I mean, the barrels are the water storage things, and then you have
the brown ones, yeah.
Yeah.
The one to the left there, looking at the left side, it looks like the organic residue cleaner thingy, which you use to clean a noxious crust, which you use to clean the red exotics.
And the big blue barrel?
Might be part of it. I'm not sure.
Okay. Right. I was just admiring the picture. It's a nice picture.
They are quite deep devices.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So
cool.
I think the blue barrels behind are actually part of it. Because if you put it on a shelf, like we used to do with benches, they stick out in front of the shelf.
Okay, cool. Right.
So yeah, I think it's part of the cleaner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So to pair with reworking the entire power network system, a balance pass was required on existing networks. We have moved the water pipe tool to tier 3. With the introduction of the biofuel water pump, this makes water networks accessible much earlier. Obviously, you have a water pump at tier 3, you need the water tool at tier 3 as well. Now, due to this, all furnaces at tier 3 and above can now be connected to water networks for any recipes, existing or future. All furnaces.
Stone furnace? No, stone furnace
Tier
is tier
3.
2. That would be concrete furnace and electric furnace.
Exactly. Concrete furnace right now has no water connection. Apparently, it will have now.
Yeah.
Which is strange because the cement mixer also has a water connection.
That is correct.
That's tier 2.
There is going to be a little bit more information
later
related to this later in.
Okay.
So now, due to the water networks being shifted to tier 3, we have also shifted the water sprinkler to tier 3 and reduced the crafting cost to make it fit as a tier 3 item, cheaper and 1 tier earlier.
Yeah.
The biofuel aquarium tier 3 has had its level requirement removed, so it can be built before level 30, although you still need level 30 for the bench. So, but also now requires a water connection to keep your fish alive. Where previously the tier 3 aquariums just chuck in biofuel and you're golden, and the tier 4 needed both water and power connection.
Yeah.
The tier 3 one now also requires a water connection and biofuel. So they added the water connection requirement.
Quick interjection over here. Are your fish going to survive this switch? This implementation?
You have fish. Well, depends. Actually, did they change all current tier 3 aquaria? That's going to be the question. Like,
if Nemo dies, it's not my fault.
Aquaria already placed. Will they get changed as well to require the water connection? If so, your fish will die if you don't hook it up.
Okay, so one of the things you need to do is kind of go have a look at them.
If you have them, yes. It might be, and we have seen this before with the concrete furnace and the glassworking bench, that they changed the bench, but it became a new item. So you still had the old bench. However, if you crafted a new one, it was the new bench.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out that some people might be attached to their pet fish, and then this rework might cause some tiers to be created.
Yeah, again, depends on whether or not current aquaria are going to be changed. Like, did they add throughout everything, throughout all tier 3 aquaria, all which are crafted and or placed already? Did they add the requirement for the water network there? I'm not sure. Initially I would say no. Initially I would say This is only for newly crafted tier 3 aquaria. But since I don't have any tier 3 aquaria, I'm working with the tier 4 ones, I can't test it, unfortunately.
Well, your tier 4 ones still need power to keep the fish alive. That was kind of what I was meaning. Yeah, but that's what I'm still referring to.
Yeah, but they already needed them. So they're already hooked up anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but their effectivity is going to decrease. But it doesn't matter, carry on. It's fine. We'll see.
Now, we have also removed the water network connections from the tier 2 masonry bench, as there are tier 3 replacements. And also it helps solidify as tier 3 as the introduction of enhanced production with water networks. So not really the cement mixer,
yeah.
but it is a masonry bench. Indeed,
the masonry bench could have had
bench, yes, could have had water connected to it, and it would have increased, and it would increase the
crafting times,
crafting speed.
Interesting.
Yeah, it wouldn't increase the crafting time, luckily. It would increase the crafting speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, they removed it from the tier 2 masonry bench, and they're like, yeah, you know what? Just use the tier 3 one anyway. Which is, by the way, slightly bigger. So if you have cramped up all your benches, you might not be able to replace it. You might have to find a new spot for your tier 3 masonry bench. But
yeah,
just increase the size of your base.
Or don't cram up your benches.
Also a possibility. Now, next week will be batteries, bugs, balance, and optimization. So next week is going to be dedicated to balancing, optimizing, and bug fixing for the new networks we're introducing this week, along with some other quality of life upgrades.
Yeah.
Now I'm handing it back to you.
If you like what we're doing with Icarus and want to support our continued development, consider purchasing one of our DLCs for a few dollars. It would mean a lot to us. We have the architecture bundle here and the complete set there, so you can get those if you don't have them. We're moving on now to the changelog. And here we have the new content. They have a lot there about the the flow meter. So they've added it and set up the basic logic for it. They've updated the UI for it. Resource network upgrade branch merged to trunk. I'm assuming that's more inside information.
Yeah, they were running next to the experimental branch. They were running a separate extra branch for testing out the new batteries and networks, as to not interrupt the normal testing. This additional branch has been running for quite a few weeks. So there was a separate branch, so they could test it on that branch while still testing the other stuff for the weekly patches on the experimental branch.
Okay,
that's what they mean with the network upgrade branch and the resource network upgrade branch. And merge your trunk, basically, they brought it to production.
Yeah. Okay. Added message about not being connected to the network to resource network inspection view. So you could look at it and it wouldn't tell you anything, but now it does. Fixing up blueprints for batteries after batteries merge. Adding functionality to the flow meter item. Well, you can pull it out and use it, but if it doesn't work, it's not much use.
Well, they added functionality, so I don't know what it was doing before, but apparently they decided like, it needs more. Okay.
We like that. Reduced sprinkler steel to 2 per.
In other words, a sprinkler now only uses 2 steel ingots instead of, I don't know what was the amount was before. Never use it actually because it wasn't really useful. When was it useful? If you had a base with wood inside and you were very careless when it comes to fire. I mean, we have set stuff on fire to test out the sprinklers when they came out long time ago. And yes, it worked, but it wasn't really useful.
No.
So we decided to basically never did them. However, I mean, I do remember specifically having tried the whole water crop plots with sprinkler, which did not work at that point.
No.
Now it does work, however, it's going to be worth it probably to start putting sprinklers on beams above the greenhouse, in the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Which obviously also means more water draw, so more water pumps, which means more power draw, which means
more wind pumps,
extra,
more wind
extra reason
turbines.
to put all the solar panels down.
Yeah. Okay. They've rebalanced the flow meter recipe, reduced the aluminium costs and added electronics and glass, and they've moved it to the fabricator to be made now.
It's made a tier 4 item apparently. Moved to fabricator. So, yeah.
Okay. Removed clay and scoria brick recipes from stone furnace.
So you no longer can create clay brick and scoria brick in the stone furnace. I didn't know you could. Apparently you could.
No, I never noticed an icon for them in the stone furnace either, but there we go. Increased metal rain reservoir cost, adding 12 refined iron instead of 8, and adding 20 charcoal. So we have another use for charcoal.
Yeah. I mean, 20 charcoal per rain reservoir. Charcoal for filtering the water, obviously, but 20 charcoal only for a metal rain reservoir. Well, you make like 10 of them and you have a ton of water storage. It's still only 200 charcoal.
That's like one stone fireplace's charcoal produced. It would actually be interesting if they could have turned it into like a semi-consumable to help like purify or increase the quality of the water. That would have been interesting. But anyway.
That was indeed my next comment. It is crafting cost. It's not used as a consumable. It's used in crafting. If it would be a consumable, would have been an interesting approach. I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to it.
Yeah, makes sense.
As long as you can chuck in 2k charcoal, so I won't have to look at it for the first couple of weeks. But yeah, make it into a consumable. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Maybe you could refine them into charcoal briquettes, which you could then feed into the fire.
Yeah, that'd actually be pretty nice. That's actually a good idea as well.
The forge already runs on charcoal, as well as the smokers. So charcoal is already used as a fuel source.
Yeah, but turning it into a fuel source for the fireplace or the fireplace itself, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, think about it. I mean, you've got food in the fireplace that goes off. It turns into spoiled food, and then that gets turned into charcoal. If you can then hike that, refine it, and put it back into a fireplace, you've got a constant fuel.
It would mean that you basically burn the same fuel twice.
Yeah. But charcoal, that's what you do with wood. If you, you don't burn
in the same
it completely.
device. I mean, interesting idea. Like I said, charcoal is already being used as fuel in a couple of benches. But not sure about the whole use it as fuel in a fireplace though.
Just don't know. You turn
Isn't it usually like more glowy than actually flames?
It gives more heat, burns slower.
So charcoal is just wood that's been burnt and then extinguished before it was completely turned to ash.
If you could combine...
Depends. If you have the proper charcoal, it's charcoaled through and through. So it's not, well, it's not really burnt as such because you, when making charcoal, you basically deny oxygen. There is a shortage of oxygen, so it doesn't burn. So it.
No, it's basically but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. You can make charcoal using a charcoal maker, and that's basically used as a fuel source in normal fireplaces. But besides the point, we could probably
if you could infuse the charcoal with the biofuel, you could make briquettes.
Yeah, basically. That was, I think, what Ecco was mentioning, and that's not a bad idea because it could
would be an interesting concept. Something for future upvote, Ecco.
Making briquettes,
Yeah. Re-adding water borer blueprint and fixing deployable entries for water borer. Yeah. And biofuel pump.
Flamemeter durability?
Yeah. You can damage it, you can destroy it, so it has some durability.
Got it. So I thought it was like wearing out, but yeah, mine was.
No. It's not gonna wear out. But if you shoot it with the shotgun, don't be surprised if you blow the whole thing up.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, and that's mentioned below. Adjust flow meter durability from 250 to 750.
So, increasing the batteries. The basic and advanced battery storage. So it takes each around 10 minutes to fully charge and 10 minutes to fully discharge. Now this can be augmented with multiple batteries, and each battery provides different charge and discharge rates.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Realistically, you could push 1,000,000 watts towards the battery and then it would still charge at a certain pace. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
There's the difference between the basic and the advanced.
Yeah.
The basic battery pack and advanced battery rack.
Charges and discharges quicker.
Advanced battery rack has a bigger storage capacity, but the inflow and outflow is higher as well.
Yeah.
So they both take about 10 minutes to fully charge, but the advanced one holds more power. So it can consume more power, some more bigger ingress, but it can also distribute more power, bigger egress.
So it could also be 10 minutes. It could be pretty much just a ridiculous influx and a ridiculous outflux to sort of just make it so time-wise it's still the same. Yeah. It could be, yeah.
Yeah, that's how they did it both.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Which is
basic and advanced. So yeah. That's why they said about the basic battery rack isn't suitable for high capacity networks.
Do you think if you could couple a battery to a battery, that the battery behind the battery would charge at a slower rate, right?
Yes, if you put a advanced battery rack behind a basic battery rack, it will take longer to fully charge.
Yeah.
Because the output of the basic battery rack is lower than the max input of the advanced battery rack.
Yeah, but I'm just referring to two advances.
You're going to be artificially limiting your input. So it will going to take longer for the advanced one to charge.
No, but if you just had advanced, everything would be 10 minutes and then all of them are full. If you've daisy chained advanced.
You would expect
In reality, no.
Yeah, I know.
It will take 30 minutes for each to charge if you have 3 daisy chains.
Yeah.
Because the influx, the input of the first connecting battery rack has a certain max.
Oh, yeah.
So daisy chaining battery racks.
Yeah, the first one has to be full before the second one starts charging.
No.
Well, it'll be all filling at the same time, but just at a slow rate, basically.
Exactly.
But the question is whether or not the game would do that. That's sort of. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's testable. Just put down 6 battery racks, daisy chain 3, and hook the other 3 up parallel instead of in serial. So easy to test.
Okay. Adding optional flow text to resource inspection resources. Okay. Fixing issue with resource displays on talents and tooltips. The calculation for ratio was backwards, showing incorrect flow rates.
Yeah, there's going to be annoying when testing.
Yeah.
Glad I fixed that.
Adding optional water connection to furnace. Excuse me.
Now I wonder if you want to make clay bricks. Right now you have to put clay in your furnace and you have to put a water storage, a filled water container in that same furnace in order to make the clay bricks. Now if you hook it up to the wall, is it automatically going to take the water from that water connection? I.e. you only need to add the clay and it will turn it into clay bricks.
That's the idea.
Do you recall, like, you can make the flatbread dough from flour and yeast.
Yeah.
You can make bread dough with flour, yeast, and water.
No, you make flatbread dough with flour and water.
Yeah,
flour and water. I would say yeast as well, especially for normal bread, but okay, whatever.
Yeah,
the important part is water.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you do this in a kitchen bench. You can hook up a water connection to a kitchen bench. Do you still need to put your canteen in the kitchen bench in order to make the bread dough?
No.
You don't? Okay, so it is taking the water from the water connection then.
Should do, yeah.
Can't remember. I've never done it.
Should do or is.
I can't remember.
Something we'll have a look. Because if the bread dough is taking water from water connection, I would say clay bricks is also going to take water from water connection. However, if on the other hand, crafting bread dough still requires you to add your canteen to the kitchen bench, even though it is connected to the water network, then there is a fair chance clay bricks still need a canteen in the furnace in order to create the clay brick, even though the furnace is connected to water.
I've never made flatbread or bread dough in a kitchen bench which was connected to water. I think when I've gotten to your place, my goal was to eat, not to cook. That's just all I know.
Yeah, flatbread dough is made in the herbalist bench.
But it could be made in the kitchen one as well, I think.
It's flour and water. There's no yeast. You do need the yeast for
yeast
ordinary dough, for bread dough.
Yeah.
But I'm not used to making bread dough in a kitchen bench that is connected to a water source.
Same here.
So I always put my canteen in anyway.
As a habit as well. I mean, you and me probably would do it if there was a kitchen bench in front of us with a water connection. Our natural instincts would probably be, I have to go to inventory, click the water bottle, put it into my inventory, go into the bench, click the damn thing, put the bread in, just because that's what you've been doing for years.
Yeah, that's what you've been doing pretty much since the game came out.
Yeah. Well, definitely something to test.
Yeah, well, as far as the water reservoir is concerned, I remember actually it was me that taught Cornet how to put the water bottle into your hot slot and fill it really quickly, rather than having to put it into the water, the rain reservoir, and wait for it to fill.
Yeah, we did not know, so it was good to learn that.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Anyway, back to the patch notes. Upping the water regen rate.
Water generation rate.
Water generation rate, sorry. Flow meter now shows detailed resource network window when interacted with. That's good. You know, open it up and it just says off. Okay. Resource network inspection window is now self-contained and can be opened using the normal linked actor dynamic widget flow.
Basically the R for radial.
Okay. Re-added resource remaining indicator to drill, extractor, and harvester UI.
There will be more mention of this one later on.
Okay.
I'd hold my comments about this until that point.
Okay.
But just as a reminder for myself.
Okay, fair enough. They removed the water connection from Tier 2 masonry bench. Didn't realise it could be hooked up to water to start with.
Oh, I did. Trust me, I did.
Removed the water connection from the Tier 2 rain reservoir as it's superseded by the Tier 3 rain reservoir. I didn't realise the Tier 2 one could be connected to a water connection either.
This, I have to admit, I did not know either.
Because if we'd have known that when we were building a house in the desert in Olympus next to a lake, we could have had a rain could have had a rain reservoir there.
Well, the question is, before this rework, what did a water connection do? It increased crafting speed. What is being crafted in a rain reservoir?
Water.
So it would have melted the ice a bit faster? No, not really much.
Wouldn't you have been able to have coupled it to like a kitchen bench? You need a pump for it?
You need just a pump for it.
Are you sure?
A rain reservoir never considered a... Well, I think it's a good one actually. That is a good one. But
gravity.
Then, yeah. But then...
Well, the thing is that before the advent of the water wheels, if you wanted water, you had to use a pump. Because a pump was the only thing you could use.
I don't know. Anyway, I did not know it had a water connection before.
No,
never tried it either. So.
Well, now that we do know, if you do have any Tier 2 reservoirs, you can't connect them to water now.
I still have them. Then the same as with the Tier 3 Aquaria, does this change affect current rain reservoirs or only newly crafted ones?
If you remember when they did the upgrade to the benches, right, you had to pick up the bench and replace it in order for the change to take place. It might be the same with the rain reservoir. The downside to that is any time you pick up a rain reservoir that's got rain in it, you lose the water.
Yeah, but the water connection should still be there. But let's see, the glassworking bench and the concrete furnace, they changed the entire mesh. So it was basically a complete new item.
Yeah.
Now, adding or removing water connection should not change the mesh. So it might still be the same item then. So yeah, maybe indeed pick it up and put it back down. The same with trophies, where they basically had the wrong mesh in a couple of trophies several weeks ago. Where all you need to do was like pick up the trophy and place it back down in order for it to show the correct one. For example, the Arctic Scorpion was shown as a normal Scorpion one.
Yeah.
And after they fixed it, you had to pick up your Arctic Scorp trophy and put it back down, and then it showed you as the Arctic Scorp trophy. But yeah, for the Tier 2 rain reservoir, I don't know, is it an in-place change, or is it a change upon place, or is it a change upon craft? If it's a change upon craft or upon place, I can test it, because I have Tier 2 rain reservoir.
Yeah.
If it's an in-place change, yeah, you can't test it no more.
Yeah. Okay. Shifted the Tier 2 water purifier to Tier 3 as it makes more sense that at that location due to the network changes.
This is in the new content. I haven't seen anything about they having added the water purifier, and that is new content, not future content. But I haven't seen anything mentioned of them having added the water purifier already, so this might belong in the future content.
Yeah, it kind of it makes sense that it's in there. They've modified the size of the ice borer and the flow meter because they were too small. Fixed resource network puck collision on flow meters, so you can now connect to multiple networks.
So you can connect them to multiple. Interesting. Then I wonder
But
how the display is going to work.
maybe it's only multiple networks of one type. So you've got one of onto the water multiple networks and one onto the electric multiple networks.
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's easy to test. Put down a flow meter and try to hook it up to both water and electricity.
Although common sense would tell you that that would just explode the flow meter, but there you go.
Not if it's properly insulated inside and like separated inside and properly insulated and stuff. So, yeah.
Unless you could charge electricity through the water through a sprinkler to electrocute animals.
Oh, that would be fun.
That would be good, yeah.
Just saying.
Talking about that, iron backpack in combination with water bombs.
But I told you, this is what I said. The water, the sprinklers, the backpack, there's a reason.
Not the sprinkler, but I've seen it when I was hitting a bear with my fists when wearing an iron backpack. I did do electricity damage.
Yeah, but I'm also just wondering if
arrows,
they're wet.
Bullets. So basically, every weapon, when wearing iron backpack, gives you a chance for electricity. So maybe also water bombs. Water bombs, smoke grenades, frag grenades. I don't know.
Maybe the other thing I was thinking is maybe a wet animal just takes more damage from electricity. Maybe that's also a possibility.
Yeah, it's like hitting an electric eel in the lake.
I don't know, but it's basically like it ticks for like 6 or 7, and then if they're wet, it ticks for 20, for example. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Removed old unused flow meter static meshes. And they also removed helper text for T2 masonry bench, water connection craft speed, as this is no longer applicable. Adding ability to scale network flow via stats, so modifiers can scale up or down depending on contextual events. So it's a to and from information flow between the device and the network.
Or is this the whole brown out?
Yeah. Well, it's scaling up or down depending on events. So if there's not
contextual
enough
events, exactly. Like not enough.
Not enough power, so I'm gonna slow down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Light intensity is now scaled on electrical lights when they are receiving less power, are in a brownout. So if they're bright, you're good. If they're dim, you need more power.
You can actually make use of this, you know. If you're like, I want a bit more dimmed lighting, I'm gonna hook up one wind turbine and a whole bunch of lights just to that one wind turbine, so I've a bit dimmer light.
Yeah.
Have you guys tested lights on solar panels?
Not one-on-one. However, solar panels do stop producing electricity when the sun goes down, and it only starts producing electricity again a while after the sun comes back up.
Okay, so it's a time
that
thing.
I have tested.
So it's a time thing regardless of how many spotlights you shine onto a solar panel.
Yeah.
Got it.
Also, weather independent. Be
Yeah,
it a storm, be it a bright weather.
Doesn't matter.
So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Added logging if a water or pipe fails to reconnect to a device on load.
So basically unloading the prospect. Should
Yeah.
show it in the prospect log.
Okay. Changed generator loading to use full activation path. This should fix things like the water pump being stuck on idle.
Yeah, basically upon loading of a prospect, it's going to look at like how much power are you producing, how much power are you using, and keeping into account the previous state of the device.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was the device switched off when you logged off? It will remain switched off. If it was switched on, it would remain switched on. By the way, currently it is kinda like this. However, it does not work for the electric furnaces. You always have to manually switch those on. Now, if upon loading the prospects, it's loading the consumers first before the producers, then everything is gonna spawn in an idle state, in an off state, because like there's not enough power. Everything is like shut off.
Yeah.
If instead you load the power generators before the power consumers, then it's gonna have a proper look at the amount of power available.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Fixed inspect network not working for wiring tools on clients.
So on DS, everyone is a client. Good luck
Yeah.
using the inspect network with wiring tool.
Yeah.
In peer-to-peer, only the host could do it. So glad I fixed this.
Yeah. Fixed missing action prompts from water tool. So it tells you what to do next, what you need to do next. Updated deep ore veins, so they are unlimited. That was spoken about above. Light intensity now has a stat and can be scaled by adding modifiers to the lights. That was spoken about above. That's to do with them getting brighter and dimmer.
Yeah, as mentioned by the bullet point below.
Yeah, adding new brownout modifier for lights that reduces its effectiveness. Removing optional brownout text from resource network resource
Native
network
network?
resource network data.
Okay. Like Scottish spelling?
Just a bit, yeah.
Native network? I like that.
And added dev tool for inspecting resource flows inside devices.
Yeah, DevTool, so nothing to do with us
Yeah,
players.
that's insider information.
Literally in this case.
Yeah. Okay. What have they fixed, Cornet?
So, fix the bees incorrectly persisting for 5 minutes when killed. This was kind of mentioned in the patch notes themselves. Having also to do with the next one. Bees not cleaning up correctly on clients when killed is also been fixed. So, they shouldn't be hanging around after they got killed.
Mm-hmm.
Fix a trivial runtime replication warning associated with a new deployable camera focus setting. I think this deployable camera focus setting has to do with the change from last week, 2 weeks ago, where there is this toggle in the settings now, which I tested out, by the way, and yes, it works. If you like normally, if you interact with the device, your camera switches to like in front of the device.
Yeah.
Very handy if you want to inspect or have a closer look at a painting which is put up high on the wall. You can now toggle the setting and make it so that if you interact with a device, it does not change the camera around no more. So I think that's what I mean with deployable camera focus setting.
Yeah, that would be good.
Apparently it had some warning they fixed. Well, thanks for that. I did not notice any warning with either setting.
Yeah, okay. Next up.
Shield or offhand item stats are now applied when placed in the offhand. We don't really have a lot of offhand items anymore. We had it, didn't we? Yeah, I believe at some point for the light sources where you could use an item in one hand and have your torch in the other hand. If I'm not mistaken, long time ago.
Yeah, that was before
the light slot.
Yeah, long time ago when you actually you either had to hold the torch and then drop it to mine, or you had to get somebody else to hold it.
Yeah, but didn't they at some point change it briefly to an offhand item, so you could use could keep the torch in one hand and mine with the other hand, or was it only a very common request?
No, you just had to drop it on the ground and then mine.
Okay, so it never made it to this state. Then I don't know which other offhand items we actually have. Shield, okay, but other than that.
Yeah, because a bow and a crossbow, two-handed, bow, crossbow, guns, apart from the pistol.
Yeah, but any offhand item?
Jewel?
Yeah, the torch, the lamp was actually sort of on your hip area, so it sort of always wiggled
in the light slot, yes.
Yeah,
Not if you have it equipped to your hand.
No.
But the stats of the offhand item, well, the iron shield actually does have the stat, like the chance to do electric damage. Now, I always carry the shield on my back, I never have it in my hand, so I have not tested this, but apparently, if you had the shield in your hand, you didn't have the chance for doing the electric damage.
Oh, okay. I used my shield for the first time yesterday when we were running about with the needlers, when we were having to deal with the needlers at the top of the poles.
Oh yeah, that was fun though.
Yeah.
You ended up in very nice positions.
Yeah, I did. Just all you got to do is check the screenshots of the Discord servers. Yeah, they're funny as hell.
Exactly. Okay, so added resource remaining indicator to drill, extractor, and harvester UI, and as promised more, they removed a remaining value from drills, extractors, and harvesters.
Yep, they're not infinite, so
no.
Great.
The deep ores are now unlimited, means no longer required the remaining value. For
there was a remaining icon
However,
for those things to begin with?
Well, added resource remaining and removed. So they added and removed it straight away.
Oh, okay, so it was there. Got it.
Yeah. The deep ores is now unlimited, so the drills is no longer applicable resource remaining, it's infinite.
Yeah.
And the others,
fill up. They're not going to run out.
Yeah, and the others, like the extractors for exotics and the harvesters for the red exotics, they benefit from the mystery.
Okay, got it.
I kinda agree there.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, but I unfortunately took the first word of the feature content, so I want us to get there.
Yeah. Let's see. Fixed selected dropship index is not being set on outpost after a return to character select. Select the dropship index. What? You return to character. Okay, so when coming back down. Okay. And interesting. Okay, for some kind of mission, miasmic something mission, they fixed the solar panels not counting for the entire mission area. Requiring placement within middle half of the mission area initially, which was wrong. They can now be placed anywhere within the mission area. So yeah, place some solar panels, so like, I don't know, something like make a base or put something down to be powered within this area, and then you power it with solar panels, and then the solar panels could only be placed in half the area. If you place it in the other half, they didn't count. Doesn't make sense. Glad they fixed this.
You literally had to probably run with the panels quite some ridiculous amount of distance away in order to use them somewhere else, so an odd limitation in the first place, but sure thing.
Well, this brings us to the future content.
Yeah, and as Carl says, the first line of that is very interesting.
That is the one. That's the thing I've been screaming for. Introduce unique spawns.
Exactly. Exotic infused creatures. Yeah. That's what caught my attention straight away as well. Yeah.
That was exactly what I wanted. So there's like a white crocodile that we read up on the previous patches. There could be like a red grizzly boy running at your freaking face.
Ghost crocodile,
that's so
actually,
cool.
but yeah.
The ghost crocodile, yeah, that could maybe be like a exotic infused variant, which is just so cool. If you could actually start countering things, that's brilliant.
These will be epic creatures.
Rare to spawn, but yeah.
Epic creatures like the ones in the missions, like kill this polar bear or kill that normal bear or that black wolf. The epic creatures, the sandworm, the scorpion king, those kind of world bosses also count as epic creatures.
Yeah, but this is a spawn exotic infused creature, so it's a random event, not a boss.
True. But the exotic infused creatures are gonna be seen as an epic creature. But you can now specify the epic creature row when adding AI to spawn pool in each of the AI spawn zones.
Exactly, which is all zones. Oh, I think there might be zones where AIs can spawn.
Basically, instead of spawning a normal animal, it could be an exotic infused.
Exactly.
Like everywhere. True.
That's cool. That's what I like. That's what I meant. That's brilliant.
Oh man, an exotic infused Scorpion King is going to be hell.
Yeah, I would say the bosses should not be
you know,
on that
Carl is very
table.
good at the Scorpion Kings. They're easy for him. He's doing those single-handedly.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Like
I was looking at that video again lately.
Oh yeah, dude, I was owning that thing. He had no. You see how far you run away from me every time. He's like running away like a chicken. You know, he's.
I was looking at that video lately again, man. I was laughing, man. I was laughing so hard.
Oh, never mind the video. I was laughing hard at the time. Yeah. I've never seen you run so fast.
You know,
I'll show you how it's done. Somebody fucking help me.
Yeah. No, you can take aggro now. You can take aggro now. Anyway. Let's see. Woolly zebra mount. As expected, slower than a horse, but a bit more tankier and carrying more. So between the horse and the buffalo, basically. Let's see. Limestone building stuff was mentioned in earlier patch notes already. Mount specific version of blueback attack. Ergo, the blueback mount will be able to attack. Cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna get another shotgun apparently. Code name shotgun CHAC.
Wow.
Last one or two patch notes there was talks about water troughs, the concrete one and stuff. Now they're also talking about feeding troughs. Luxury one, iron and a rustic.
Okay, yeah.
And I believe there's gonna be mention of a bit more feeding troughs later on in the future content. I saw something more interesting about feeding troughs, which I can't directly relate to this bullet point. So.
Okay.
We'll get to it.
Adding skull mutt and dribble creature setups and correct naming.
Yep.
Skull mutt. There was like a temp name or something.
And then underneath it says, it's talking about a mini hippo.
Yeah, last week mini hippo is going to be spawning in groups and stuff.
Okay.
There's skullmutt and dribbo. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I like this.
Okay. Updating mange wolf aggro state of flinch audio to better match creature in the game.
Chicken trophy, white, brown, and black materials.
Chicken trophy.
Charcoal and obsidian. No, not obsidian. Scoria is brown, white. Silica.
Yeah.
Could be.
Oh, we get a mange wolf alpha and a normal mange wolf.
Okay.
Cool.
So is the mange wolf going to be bald?
Probably patchy. You know.
Patchy, yeah.
like his name is Patches. Leave him alone. He's adorable.
Armored saddles now point to correct skeletal meshes and D-saddles.
Added trail beacon and beacon tool control.
Yeah, that was the thing we told about the new map expansion with the beacons connecting to the new zone. Yeah.
Yeah, trail beacons were mentioned there, but beacon tool? I don't know.
I
don't know. Also, trail beacons to be allowed. Trail beacons to be deployed indoors.
But remember, when we get the new expansion of the map, we're not going to have the overview of the map, so we're going to have to place trail beacons so that we can see where the hell we're going.
Yeah.
That's exactly
that was what Carl and I discussed last week or a couple of weeks ago.
No, last week. It was last week.
Last week, okay. Yeah. You need like no maps, so maybe you have to like leave a trail of beacons. Last week they also mentioned like you can unhook a beacon from the trail and stuff.
Yeah, because you might go the wrong way or something. So I'm guessing it's like a big area, and you're really kind of limited.
Which would then also indicate, by the way, that you cannot pick them up.
Maybe true. No. They just said you could just pick decouple. Well, yeah, maybe you couldn't. You're right.
If you can pick them up, you don't need to unhook from the trail.
So. True, but then it's like the tool beacon might be a thing which you use to sort of determine which way you think you might be going. Like I said, I haven't introduced any of the mechanics about how this is going to work. It's all speculation, but it's interesting.
Yeah, maybe you use the beacon tool to say like, hey, connect to this trail, and you can create multiple paths.
That's
multiple trails.
That's possible.
And
different
then
ways to get there, or to different parts of the map.
And then to be deployed indoors, so you can like at the end of this trail, there is you build a base. You put the last beacon inside the base.
Well,
you can put it just outside the door or on the roof, but also
or you
inside.
Just too lazy or too scared to go out. You know,
well,
and then you just.
If it's inside, it's sheltered.
Yeah, exactly.
There's something above it.
Yeah,
the same in a cave. So if you have to go through a tunnel,
you have to be able to deploy the beacon.
Exactly.
Especially if you have multiple routes in said tunnel.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the tunnel between the near and the far volcanic biome in Prometheus.
Well, that's where your signposts would come in handy, would it not? Because you could actually if you've got a fork in your beacon trail, you can say, right, this one goes there and this one goes there.
Yeah.
So you're in essence drawing yourself a map.
Yep. But if you get like a map with like black, but only the beacons dotted in the map.
Yeah.
You don't see the sign.
No, but you would see the signs as you're running up the trail.
But yeah, maybe multiple trails. I don't know. It is all pure speculation about the whole trail beacons. I was like, deploy them indoors. Okay, interesting.
Okay.
Final adjustments for the Blueback and Blueback Yuffie audio sounds. Does this mean Blueback is gonna come closer to Blueback Mount? Me gonna like it.
Sounds like it.
Oh, the new shotgun, CHAC shotgun, is gonna be a space one, workshop shotgun.
Yeah, it does say so. Which is finally introducing guns from the get-go. So that's interesting.
Ammo?
Yeah, that's going to be expensive, but or cheap, depends. It's just that's going to be a massive power spike. Because imagine just landing down of exploding shotgun shells. Okay, goodbye.
Yeah.
Sorry, pardon my language. Anything that wants to fight you is going to reconsider those thoughts very quickly.
No, they won't be considering anything anymore. Trust me.
Yeah, it's also true. Maybe they'll
Their
consider.
brains will be splattered all over the place.
Yes, exactly. It's the procedure that will be followed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the infused creature visual effects, obviously, that's pretty cool. VFX.
Adding items for chicken head, chicken trophy, trail beacon, and 4 new food troughs.
Yeah.
So we read about luxury, the iron, and the rustic, but apparently there's going to be a 4th one as well. Okay.
Adding chicken sheep vestiges and trophy item setup. Sheep?
Sheep
and wool.
Yeah.
Wool was mentioned definitely last week.
Yep, and sheep. Sheep were mentioned. They were. Yeah, it was chicken, sheep, and the hippos.
Okay, that means that means we're gonna get eggs and mutton.
Not sure about mutton, but definitely wool. Mutton might have been mentioned as well, by the way. I don't know.
I can't remember. I think there was. There was like a change for the smoked meat thing.
Yeah, I
which
seem
was
to
in the
recall
plan
having read it, the word mutton at some point in the patch notes. But
can't remember. I thought we ended up talking about lamb chops, but that's maybe just because I like food. I can't remember.
Yeah,
lamb chops and mint sauce. Oh, yum. Yum.
I'm sorry, but there's no mint in Icarus.
Yeah, I know. Dang it.
Let's see.
We've got limestone voxels. Limestone's white.
Limestone is white? I thought it was like lime is just green in my mind.
No, limestone is white. White powder.
Okay. Oh, you're right, yeah. The comfort system which takes stats of deployables around the bed and applies it to the player while rested buff. So that means it increases because we already get the longer buff, but was that because of the bed? That was because of the bed, right? The new thing. So now it's like building up, like almost like Valheim did. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Here's one that you'll be glad of, Carl. Improve performance of forest fires.
I was looking for the fire pit one, but
hold on. And there's the 4 trough, the powered feeder. A couple of them above, 6 or so. Powered feeder. Will this mean built-in refrigerating of the stuff in the feeder?
Could be, yeah. That's maybe what you were asking for, but it's not like that stuff gets spoiled quickly.
Well, it does spoil. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we get a powered one, which would include some form of refrigeration, I'm definitely gonna go for those. That's for sure.
Yeah, that would
sounds a bit luxurious, to be honest. I mean,
at the moment, all it's doing is providing food for the supposed creature deterrent, which just doesn't bloody work to start with.
You don't put meat in the food trough.
No, you put
into the scarecrows.
You put spoiled. You put vegetables in there, which gives you spoiled plants.
Actually, you don't get spoiled plants from the food trough.
No?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
They just disappear.
Oh.
One would say you should get spoiled plants. One could say that, yeah, but you can't. Well, then you have to kinda work the same way as the water wheels handle sponges. You can take them out, but you cannot put them in. They appear in it.
Yeah,
by process.
I suppose the idea of the
you
feeding
can take
troughs...
it out, but you cannot put it in. So feeding troughs, you can take spoiled plants out, but you cannot put them in. So they should work with some similar method there.
Yeah. Okay.
They need the deployables around the bed, and then a better well rested buff. I saw that one as well. I was also thinking hey, they're gonna go the Valheim way. So even better, well-rested buff. We will get to a point because the nice badge from the
699 seconds or 999 seconds or something.
I'm at 900 something seconds.
Yeah.
The nice badge from the Art Deco set,
Mm-hmm.
combined with washing your hands before you go to bed, you already have a pretty long well-rested buff. Add stuff from deployables, add a whole bunch of deployables, and you will end up with a well-rested buff which lasts more than a day. It's going to be funny.
Well, I like the idea because it puts usefulness into the decorative items which people want to use to make their base look nice.
It adds to an extent. It adds usefulness to an extent. How useful is the well-rested buff? How often are you like, I'm glad I have the well-rested buff, otherwise I would have, I don't know, ran out of stuff.
No, I know what you mean, but it's just a nice that you actually gain some effect rather than just being purely cosmetic.
Yeah.
I totally agree there.
Yeah. Added base implementation setup for the Kiwi, including character, BP, blue points, and DT setups. Second pass coming with corpse and proper weighing setup. Yep. So we're getting another creature, guys. It's going to be, but it's going to be a ground bird because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Kiwis don't fly.
No, they don't, but they're about 4 meters tall, aren't they, Corne? We discussed
something to that extent, yeah.
I think it was like between 4 and 5. They're very big birds. They're like massive.
Like 13, 14 feet tall, yeah.
That's massive things, you know.
Yeah,
we're gonna be
considering that. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
You'll see the picture. It was in the. I think they gave a little picture as well in the previous.
Last week.
Like, it was clear as day. It was as big as trees. It's gonna be like coming through the forest.
Imagine an exotic infused kiwi.
Oh god, dude! If I see a normal kiwi, I'm running. I'm leaving you, whatever you are. You're gonna catch the aggro, and then you're gonna be eaten, not me.
Yeah, it's just a slightly smaller version of the.
It's fine.
Ostrich, really, isn't it?
Fine. No, bigger version.
It's way bigger. It's like 5 times the size. Massive. You'll see a picture. It's like
you're running through the forest, and then you bump into something. You're like, "Is that a tree?"
You hear
a tree, and you look up, and then you see this kiwi above you, like size.
It's almost like a mini T-Rex.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was quite that big. Okay.
Crystal particles
crystal particles are now scaled based on a creature's size. Crystal particles.
Probably a new item drop from these infused creatures, I'm guessing.
Exotic infused creature particles might be what we use to infuse our own weapons.
Oh, that sounds cool.
I don't know. Don't forget
with those rare
small parts.
That would be good, though, wouldn't it?
Because I know there were talks about those special weapons, the ones that were like, you know, the Alpha Wolf Fang Black Saber-tooth stinging pole of death thing.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah, maybe you use them for those. So basically, the same as the. Remember the mission where you had to kill animals and then grab the enzymes from their stomach and put it into the thing? Maybe something similar.
Yeah, well, you would just get you would sort of have to come across these rare spawns kind of stuff. Yeah.
But look at the next one. Fix a bug where the crystal particles weren't being randomly oriented. How does that tie into? Or is it crystal particles just like if it runs past you, you see like this stuff.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, you're right. It's probably like this glowing effect. It's probably a bigger animal, so it needs more glowy effect rather than just this tiny little glowing effect. You're right. That's probably more what they mean.
Okay, so Crystal Niagara particle system now persists between non-player character and corpse, which should reduce visual popping on death.
Like you kill the animal and all of a sudden the particles are gone.
Yeah, you can't see it because it's not.
So they fix it, so now at least it will stay there, like still glowing and stuff.
Yeah, so as you can find your kill in the dark.
Always handy.
Okay. Brambles damage scratch event and blueprint implementation to play audio when damaging player or enemy. Don't they do that already?
I think they are talking about the changes they're gonna do to brambles, where you will be able to plant brambles.
Yeah.
Oh,
Probably, yeah.
as a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a
So
defensive play,
you have
okay.
your wooden wall with the spikes, and then you plant a whole row of brambles in front of it.
Okay.
And you do this with a shovel, so you don't have to use crop plots. You just plant a whole bunch of brambles in front of it, and you basically add an extra layer of defense, because it is gonna damage and slow enemies as well as mounts and players, by the way. So don't put them in front of your gate. Might not be the best idea.
Cornet needs to get out of his habit of jumping over the wall.
True.
Yeah.
True. That's something to keep in mind, definitely. So it might be that these changes are related to the changes they are going to do for the brambles, in order for them to allow them to plant.
I like the second last
same
line
for
though.
the next one. Adding new audio event for the coconut tree harvesting audio, and fixing growth stage pointing to cocoa instead of cocoa nuts.
Yeah,
Tree,
because right
the
now,
cocoa palm.
yeah,
You will be able to plant the coconut palms in a crop plot,
good.
so you can grow your own trees.
Yeah, because right now it basically says
Immature coconut, ripe coconut, and mature coconut. And if you want to get the best out of it, then you need to eat the mature coconut. So now it's going to point towards cocoa instead of coconut.
The growth stages, I think it's the
That's for the
growth
plants.
stages for the tree.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the growth stages were pointing to the cocoa.
Oh,
So
instead
the
of
bush
coconut.
instead of the
Okay.
coconut, the palm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was just
I think.
basically a typo. I think so, yeah. It's just,
Okay.
that's it. What was the audio event? I'm not sure.
Fixed bug where
The
all
harvesting audio.
creatures were spawning
Yes.
with exotic fused
That was the one I
effects.
was reading. I was like, did somebody miss the decimal being a dot, not a comma? And then it was just like, everything spawning with like a particle effects, including
Yeah,
the rabbit.
we've got bear apocalypse and wolf apocalypse all over again. It's just
Exotic
animal
infused bees.
Oh God.
Rabbits are just anything. In fact, that would actually be pretty cool if you came across like a rabbit that was like gnawing at your ankles. Like, what's going on? Oh, it's a little red rabbit. Oh, it's cute. And it's like fighting and
It's a
playing.
little glow in the dark rabbit.
Just
Then all of a sudden it jumps and starts gnawing your throat.
It's in your face. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
like one of those face hoppers from Half-Life.
However,
Wow.
Corny, we could get our killer bunnies out of that.
That's the thing. That's what I'm just saying. The killer bunny that's like hopping towards your face and you have to kind of dodge. That would actually be terrifying. Because that was one of the things that really like... No, seriously. Those face crabs from Half-Life were things that sort of terrified me. Those things are like... They're jumping to your head and I'm like, oh my god, that's like not a fun creature to fight against. So if you're just like, oh, it's a little white rabbit, and then he's got like red glowing eyes, like, wait a second.
Yeah. And finally, they added the Kiwi corpse and animation setup, tweaked the move speed to fit the size, and duplicated animations for audio.
Yeah, so that's obviously so I think it was a bit slow. Yet again, we haven't seen it, but I'm assuming they had to speed up the model quite a bit because it's so freaking massive.
I mean, if you look in Ark, the big dinos, they move very slow.
Yeah.
Like obviously, there's a lot of mass you have to put in motion.
Yeah. I think we were going to say we had to kind of run through the trees to sort of avoid it. So yeah.
Yeah, I will never forget the dinosaur movement trail that Corny and I did in order to try and move all the animals. Yeah. And we came upon one dinosaur and it took us and all the animals out. It was an absolute fucking bloodbath.
Yep.
It was really bad. It was an absolute slaughter, and it was so quick. We didn't even know what it was until we snuck back to the area to try and identify what killed everything.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a dino either. It was just
No,
two
but by
tires.
God, it was fast and it hurt. It
I mean,
hit really, really hard.
Look at the Bronto. That thing is massive, and
Yeah.
it moves very slowly.
Yeah. But I mean,
And
it
hits like a
it
truck.
it killed all the flyers and everything.
Yeah, if you are on the ground, if the flyers follow you, then the flyers are gonna stay close to the ground.
Back
Yeah.
to the notes. That was about it, right? That's pretty much it.
So we take a quick break, and then we'll be back in like 10 or so.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm just going to scroll up, so watch your eyes, peeps. We will be back for some subsequent gameplay at hour. And so we will look forward to seeing you then. Testing out the batteries and such. Corne has looked forward to this for months.
Like ever since news came about this update about the battery rework. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, we will be back in a little bit. Until then, it's good night from me.
And good night from her.
And we will see you just shortly. And remember, peeps, it is a dangerous world out there, so please take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.